safety of the fighters is everything. When these guys are coming in the ring, they're putting a lot on the line. A lot on the line. I don't want to see those guys having lives that are altered or diminished. It's much better for someone to lose a fight than it is to suffer serious injury where they can never come back. It's their life. That's what you're there for. There are times when, you know what, that referee may stop the fight and the fighter gets up, goes back to their corner, and then all of a sudden goes down. If the fighter ends up not making it, the referee has to live with it forever. That will be with him forever. Our whole goal is to be as good as we can be on that particular moment in that particular fight. Your job is to go out and make sure that that fighter is in the fight, and if they get put into a position where they can't defend themselves, then you're the person that is there to defend them. When you have a direct impact on their life, it's important. I had nobody to learn from. There was no one I could go ask. Boxing officials shunned, me and the UFC like it was just absolutely horrible. It was all about having a fight, seeing if something went wrong. Well, how did it go wrong? Going back and watching, and how do I make it so it's right? That's the way I learned how to do things. For a long time, I did other things, as far as what was my main job, and that was being a police officer in Los Angeles. I had grown up with my father being a Los Angeles police officer. He's my hero to this day. And when I came on the police department, a lot of people said, "You're gonna go to SWAT?" And I told them right away, no, I'm not. And the reason it wasn't gonna happen was because I was always gonna be compared to my dad. He's known worldwide for being one of the innovators of the special weapons and tactics. And I looked at it and said, you know what, hey, my dad made some big footsteps. And you're a fool if you try to walk in those. So make your own. Never did I dream that I would do as much, be as part of as much, and have an impact in something that is so important to me. Never. I know I screwed up big time at times. My dad was the one who says, you're either going to end up in jail or you're going to end up putting people in jail. You figure out which one's going to be better. I had an immense temper. And it was once I lost it, it was hard for me to come down. It's embarrassing to talk about it and say, hey, I couldn't control it. But at the time, I couldn't control it. I really couldn't. I was the guy that would pull you out of the car. I would chase you down to the point, I would chase you anywhere. There came a point where it was time to grow up and time to figure out what are you going to do in your life. Because if you keep going, if you walk a path long enough, that path can end up having a dead end in it. And luckily, I got off of that path. I was a police officer for almost 23 years. And when I opened up the gym, I was getting up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I was in work around 5. And I'd leave there and come straight to the gym. And then I would be mopping mats, and I would get out of here somewhere around 11:30. I'd get to bed about 12, and I get about 4 hours sleep. It was just getting to the point it was too much. I had kids. I had a son that was, probably about that time, 10 years of age. My daughter was probably 7, and I had a young son that was 3 or 4, and I wasn't seeing him. And I just looked at myself in the mirror one day and said, you know what, I'm becoming my dad. And not that that was a bad thing, it wasn't a bad thing, but it was something that, you know, I remember as a kid, I wanted my dad there at times. And I just thought, you know what, I gotta make a change. I was starting to figure out in life, you know, what the important things were, and what was important was family and being there for your kids and doing the right things. And you know, the excitement and stuff was great, but comes a point where other people are more important than getting that adrenaline high. MMA has come about, and it's allowed me to just absolutely have a life that I never would have had without it. You've got to be happy with what you do. You've got to be excited about what you do. You've got to be motivated. You know, my dad was that guy that, you know, I looked at and he had that thing as far as SWAT, of being part of something, making a difference. That's what people are going to remember you for. That's what makes your life special. If I did die tomorrow, I want everyone to know, man, I died a happy dude. I died a guy that was able to do more, take part in more, to go to more places and be part of more things than I ever dreamt of in my life. And I got no complaints.